Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. Jodi and I just got done interviewing Logan Duvall. He's a YouTube sensation, sowing prosperity. 132,000 subscribers is what Logan has, and we had a really great conversation. He's a longtime friend, and we just talked about some health-related issues. We talked about business-related stuff, some principles that he lives by every single day. And if you know anything about Logan, he doesn't shy away from controversy or controversial issues. So this podcast was extremely interesting, and I think you're going to enjoy it.
That's right, Caleb. I feel like this one was so different in that Logan discovered what his passion was first and then transformed that. And like we got to hear the journey, how it went really to a business at that point. But more than a business, he touched so much about helping people, but why that matters and the keys behind that. This one's incredible. I can't wait for you to watch this.
And I think there's some good life principles, there's some good health principles, and there's just all kinds of stuff that you can take away from this. So I'm going to stop talking now and let y'all see what Logan has to say. Logan Duvall, thank you for being here. He's a celebrity now. Jodi, did you know that?
Oh, I know. I'm excited to be in his presence.
132 subscribers on YouTube. A guy who came from Atkins, Arkansas.
Red
Devil Pride. Wears the Razorback hat wherever he goes, and has his own farmer's market, very successful farmer's market in
And that's
North
your
Little
logo.
Rock.
That's your logo on your shirt, right?
That's the old truck.
That's the old truck. The
Yeah,
Me and McGee.
the famous truck. Jodi and I have been down there. Pretty cool place.
Oh, I loved it, Logan, which we'll get into. But
Yeah.
anyways.
So, I mean, you've blown up on the internet, you've blown up on Facebook, you've blown up on all these other places. It's been fun to watch you because every time you post something, you always get the kindest, most loving responses in return to everything that you say. It's really phenomenal. Yeah.
Well, but hold on. So we've known you a long time, Logan.
Long time.
Let's see. Many years. I don't remember exactly. Maybe 15 now. But you used to work here at this office with us. So you ventured into the real estate. Was that your first career? First venture into a career?
No.
Okay.
No.
And I want to hear your backstory and the trends towards that.
That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that we're here talking about this because, Tony has made a massive impact on my life. And, he's the only reason I even got into real estate. It's I didn't care about real estate. I just wanted to learn from Tony. But
that's fair.
Yeah, we've known each other a long time.
Yeah.
Jacob and Caleb, go way back. We played football against each other and everything.
Oh,
so
you're right. Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Long time. Apache Red Devil
I forgot about
rivalry.
Yeah. Yeah, I try to forget some of those memories. They weren't the greatest for me. So, yeah, I know Logan loves to. I'm glad that you mentioned that today.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
thank you.
It was coming.
Yeah. So you started out, what was the first career that you started out at?
So I went to, after graduating from Atkins, went to UACCM and got petroleum technology and EMT certification.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to work on a pipeline for about a year and then got into EMS on the ambulance. So I worked on the ambulance, Pope and Yale and counties for years and did that actually while I was still doing real estate. And I did both.
Did you like it? Did you learn anything?
Mm.
No.
I learned a lot, but it also destroyed my health. Working 24-hour shifts. A lot of times I'd work 72, 96 straight.
Gosh.
So that's a little bit of a tangent, but the EMS really gave me that first layer of insight into the health crises and how medicine is done and how society is when you're behind the scenes, so to speak, right? Like everybody's got that perfect picture of themselves on social media and what life is, and then you're go in their house when you're not prepared, right? Like most people don't actually schedule emergencies.
Sure.
They just kind of have it, right?
Well said. In fact, I had to get John Henry on a ambulance when we were in Breckenridge, and so obviously it was an emergency. He couldn't breathe well, so we went out and ambulance took him to the hospital. But what all went on in that ambulance, it felt like overkill to me in a way. I'm like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I definitely saw that there was a level of try to give them as much as they can. There was sustaining life factor, obviously, but he was doing fine. He was, he was just had a little trouble breathing. So they put breathing treatment on him, but all these other things kept coming. And I thought, wow, what all are we doing here? Maybe do you have my permission? So that's where it kind of stopped for me. But anyways, go ahead. I'm sure you saw a lot of that. So
Oh, yeah, I mean, I did it years, almost 8 years altogether. So yeah, a
wow.
lot of
You
stuff.
saw some pretty rough stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That I mean, when you're on that bus, it
Yeah,
kind of hits you hard.
The thing about it though is like the real emergencies are pretty few and far between. Like a lot of it's just absolute nonsense.
Yeah.
Like my belly hurts at 3 a.m. and so you get a ride to the ER. Like that kind of
that
stuff.
kind of
It's like
Right.
really just milking the system.
Because my insurance covers it, and I'm just gonna.
There you go.
Yeah, I understand.
So when we first met, I remember coming to your house, and you were on fire, man. You had been reading some books. You had been listening to some podcasts. I don't know. You were on fire, but you were like, Caleb, we're going to make some money. We're going to do all these things. You had these big goals and aspirations.
Entrepreneurship was going through your blood.
Entrepreneurship was definitely
I remember.
foremost in your mind on how to do certain things. Really, it was buying and selling property and doing all that stuff. I mean, that was the first thought. And then you get into real estate to try to build a career in that. Neither one of those things is what you're doing today. So how and why did you start there and then end up where you're at today?
Yeah, so I was just trying to learn. That's the main reason I got into EMS, because like on paper it says you work for 24 hours and then you're off for 48 hours. That sounds great. Like I have so much time to work on building out the farm, doing investing, doing entrepreneurship. It's like I can make, pay the bills and have more time. So that's really why I got into EMS.
But you mentioned farm. So had you already started the farm while you were in the EMS field? Okay, so there was a passion there already.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I mean,
have you always had a passion for farming?
I've been around agriculture in one way or another my whole life.
Great.
One grandpa Atkins, both grandpas Atkins, we're doing mama cows and hay and grading out feeders. So beef's always been a part. Other raised chickens for Tyson, right? So like I know all ends of those spectrums. Worked for a veterinarian, livestock vet when I was in high school and college, and so like I've always been around agriculture and wanted to do that. But like the EMS, just in theory, I just didn't know it was going to drain my soul. I had so much time. I had so much time to do that. But then as I saw that, wow, this is not what I thought it was going to be, and you are exhausted, and not sleeping is not good for you.
No.
It's like, how do I take this to the next layer? And it's like, I've got to have a mentor. And what do I do? So like, I can remember where I went to our real estate school here. It was Bill Ladd, right? So like everything was geared towards how do I learn from the one person from my hometown, Tony, that has done very well. And so, like, that's the only reason I got into real estate. I liked real estate. I liked the farming aspect. Remember how we always talked about that? Is like, I want to be the farming realtor.
Yeah.
Because that was always the focus. It's like, I never liked residential or anything. Like, I mean, not anything against that. I'm just saying it wasn't what I wanted to focus on.
Right.
I wanted to understand those principles of success from Tony.
Sure. Yeah. So you get out of real estate at that point. And then what happens after that? You go to North Little Rock?
Yeah.
I mean, because there's a gap in between there, I think, before you open up Me and McGee.
Yeah. No,
right?
Me and McGee was already started by my grandparents and mom.
Okay.
So that was already going. Grandpa got sick.
Okay.
The first time was non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, had a couple cardiac events, overcame that, and then esophageal cancer that is inevitably what took him out. But so that whole journey, him being sick and the caregiver side of chronic disease is a big deal. That's a hard thing. So got to see how that impacted my family, all of us. And so when my grandpa passed away in 2016, I was like, I need to just go down there. I need to go help mom and my grandma, see if we can grow the business, see if I can put all these books and stuff to work, and learned a lot of marketing and psychology, and I felt like I could apply that. And they'd already started a foundation on social media, so I got more actively involved in that. And the market just kept growing and growing. I'm like, for essentially every year, I've had like 200% growth. It's like absolutely insane what's happened as we've been doing that. And so just as you're able to do that, you can pick up more passion projects and stuff. And so from 16 to 19, huge growth. 19 is when my little boy, he was 5 at the time, was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer out of the blue. So it already had, EMS, my grandpa, and now my son. And I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And so that was really like the genesis for, where we are and why I'm trying to find the answers and apply and educate.
So let's go back to your 5-year-old son. Out of the blue, you walk in, you know something's wrong. You don't know exactly what's wrong. You're in there with him. The doctors come in and say, he has stage 4 cancer. What's going through your mind?
Yeah, there is this like feeling of, I think the only way that you can explain it is really to experience it, but it is an encompassing blackness, where your heart like stops, your breathing just stops, and it feels like you're gonna pass out. Like, and I don't know how to shake that or explain that. But yeah, I mean, I was sitting there on the phone, trying to get food because we'd been in the ER for a while at Children's, and then I looked out in the hallway, and you've got those little rectangle windows, right? And I see a group of people standing out there. Most of them are in white coats. And I just knew, right? And so
Something's not right.
I just hung up the phone with whoever I was ordering with, and here they came. And so as they laid it up, hey, we found a mass in his stomach. Looks like cancer. And so more tests. And so it was just a gut punch, really. It's just like what, Jason Redman lays out as a life ambush. And so as you're attempting to understand what their plan is, right? What are the doctors' plans?
Right.
These are the experts. These are the professionals. So what is their plan? What are they going to say? And so it was a whole just kind of hold your breath and get a plan together. And then that's when I was like, yeah.
Did that moment catapult your research and your basically like launch you into this deep maybe search for the answer, or would you say you wandered and really aimlessly maybe for a while trying to discover what life was?
Yeah, no, like one thing about it is like I've always been like a reader, right? Like really, really in depth. I've always just like I have thousands and thousands of books. Like I think I'm at like 600 on Audible. So a lot of it actually kind of went back to Viktor Frankl's, like A Man's Search for Meaning, right? It's a really good book, really kind of grounds you and gives you a perspective. But no, and this is probably going to surprise Caleb, but I don't do very well when I'm not in control, right? And so
I'm shocked. Can you believe that he just said that?
Yeah. Very high strung, very adamant on I need to just like be in control of whatever the situation is. And so I was like, all right, doctor's going to do their part, God's going to do his part. What am I going to do? What can I control? What can I take care of? And so as I had that mindset, I just went to ordering every cancer book I could get my hands on, and as those are coming in, I asked the oncologist, like, what do I feed him? I was like, oh, it doesn't matter. I was like, what? What do you mean it doesn't matter?
But it does.
What? Why are you trying to give him a soft drink, an ice cream? Like, that has to matter, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, just like this didn't even feel right. What do you mean that doesn't matter what I feed him?
And you didn't even have the research at the time that you know now.
No.
These are just common sense things. You're like, wait a minute, something's not right.
I had the very basics of what I thought was a healthy diet, right? Like I knew running through McDonald's and eating a McGriddle was probably not a good breakfast, right? Like, but it more than that, like, I still thought, there were some issues with, say, meat, or it's a lot.
But you didn't know the interconnectings of how different, like all the crazy things that are in our food right now, and maybe how they help cancer grow, especially sugar, I'm assuming. Right. And I know you know a whole lot more about that than I do.
Yeah, that was just that entry, right? That was that first layer of trying to understand health. Is like nutrition is the first thing that I could attempt to control. I can control what he does or does not eat. right? And so that's where I started. It's obviously developed substantially since then, but that's what we did. And so I wanted to understand from, before we start recording, we're talking about like, who do we take advice from?
Right.
Like maybe try to take advice from people that have done it. Right.
Sure.
And
Conquered
done it
cancer.
Successfully. So I started getting every possible thing about those that did that and reading it. Like I wanted to understand the podcasts and then layer on after layer on. And that was a big foundation.
So, Logan, were you still holding a job and working at this time?
At the market.
And so market was your full-time job. But so I'm just curious, the passion that you had before the cancer versus the passion for the market after the cancer. Yeah. I kind of want to hear that transition.
So Lander was diagnosed on a Friday. And so there was a lot of things I say that I was pretty pissed off about on a Thursday, right? Just the day-to-day grind, running a business, did little piddly things that are just really frustrating, right? Like they did not matter on Friday.
Sure.
They could not have mattered less when you have that life ambush and get your perspectives changed. So my primary focus, I always wanted to be successful because I thought successful gave me freedom. Right, like that was why I wanted to make money. Like what you're talking about earlier in life when we were talking and reading all the financial and entrepreneurial books, it was about having freedom, or like self-reliance. That was why I wanted money. It wasn't just be all powerful, right? Like
that control that you talked about earlier, like it was a different kind of like financial control
I
over
wanted to be
what
able to
you
control
did.
my own life, my family's life. That's why I wanted to make money. It didn't matter.
Sure.
On Friday. So we still had to have a successful business. We had to do things, but like books and staying on top of it and profit and loss statements and margin, none of that stuff like even mattered, right? It was like turn things over, be successful. How do I save my baby?
Yeah,
right.
That's right.
And so that perspective changed. And so I was very, very, very open about everything we were doing, through posting, through breaking it down. If I learned about why magnesium was so important, I shared it because I feel like teaching is the best way to learn it.
Absolutely.
Yes. Right? That you re-emphasize, you reinforce what you are doing if you can explain it, right? Yeah. So I avid writing about everything that we were doing, sharing, because I was like, if I can prevent or help one person going through this, like, we're gonna make the most out of this terrible situation as we possibly can.
Did you have that mindset though before, or is that a new mindset afterwards? You're like, because let me ask you this a different way. I've read a lot of what you post because it's educated me. It's forced me to get my mind right because of some stuff that we were trained right to believe. And so it's like, okay, I don't know if Logan's right, but I'm going to go look at it myself, right? So you gave me that, but let me push it back on you a little bit. As I read some of your stuff, and you are passionate about cancer research, and I read these comments, and I'm just gonna give you the synopsis of what they say, okay, Logan? I know you know this. I'm gonna give you a synopsis of what they say. You don't have a PhD.
I'm not a doctor.
You're not a doctor, okay? You don't have any of that stuff. You're not ever really done cancer research. You're not been in a lab somewhere doing cancer research, right? You've never written a book on cancer or cancer research, so you don't have any of these qualifications, but you have done research. You have lived through cancer survivor through your son, right? So what gives you that elevation to talk to people about cancer in your opinion?
Yeah. So it's the fact that I've put out almost 900 videos, right? You can see my proof of work. This is what I love about like cryptocurrency, and when you have people talking about like proof of stake versus proof of work, right? Like proof of work means like you've done it. Like people can go see my PhD, right? It's in the conversation. So like listen to me have a conversation with a doctor or a PhD and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, right? Like it's all out there in the public to see it, be able to see it.
And these are people. Who are you interviewing? So you say 900 videos, 900 interviews. Who are you interviewing?
Doctors, PhDs.
Do they agree with you? They disagree with you?
No, nobody. There's no consensus,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
No consensus on anything. But these are all the experts around the world that have the thing about what has happened with science and why you have all of these people that think that they know what they're talking about is that everything is siloed and it's very deep in a specific thing. Okay. So whatever it is. And so like, I talk to everybody from anthropologists, right? It's like Dr. Bill Schindler. This is a PhD. Travels the world, explores societies, ancient ways that people lived and how they practiced. Why were they healthy? You know, he's more of like a modern day Weston A. Price, right? Weston A. Price was a dentist that traveled all over the world and studied these indigenous populations. Okay, I have oncologists, right? Radiologists come on. I have PhDs in biochemistry, like Dr. Moore. He is probably in the front melanin researcher in the world. Like melanin, what does that have to do with anything? Well, a lot, actually. Like that's more than a tan. Astrophysicist. Like I was just on a podcast with a astrophysicist that works for NASA currently that was interviewing me.
Wow.
That's cool.
Right. So when it's layer after layer after layer and coordinating it, you know, the biggest names in regenerative agriculture and things like that may not sound like it has anything to do with cancer, but it does, right? Like, so Joel Salatin's been on umpteen times. Gabe Brown's another iconic figure in that movement. Sally Fallon, she's the president of Weston A. Price Foundation. She's been on multiple times. So I have lots of these conversations as we break down whatever it is. And then as you start getting into like quantum biology, so like my mentor is Dr. Jack Cruz. And so Jack he went to Connecticut, got a dual MD DDS. So he's a dentist, doctor dentist was at this program that they went. Then LSU became an oral surgeon, right? And then from LSU, oral surgery went into neurosurgery. He's been a neurosurgeon, right? Never sued for malpractice in his entire career, right? Like this is a neurosurgeon, right? Like a lot of things can go wrong, right? But Jack's also been a pioneer in this quantum biology, and that's where you start understanding why Parkinson's and melanoma and hypothyroidism and PCOS and all of these things are interrelated, is because on that level you keep getting deeper. So we have to bring this back all together, we're hyper siloed, where these specialists, these PhDs know a lot about this narrow little sliver, right? Maybe it's only commercial real estate, right? But they know nothing about agriculture, know nothing about rentals, whatever, but they know commercial in and out. Well, you're going to have this with your biochemist. You're going to have this with your different specialties of doctors. This is why you have a nephrologist, a neurologist, a cardiologist, an endocrinologist, right? When you have all of these different specialties and they're hyper-focused on what they do instead of acting like the whole thing works together.
Right. Such as our body does.
Such as our body. So this is where that quantum biology thing comes in, and you start seeing how the underpinnings of everything, it's the same. This is why I sound like a wackadoodle when I tell people to go get in the sun, right, and ground. And because you're breaking it down into where it's biophysics. So this is why I do get, physics PhDs on here, and where we talk about, and that's the other thing, is like there's so many different specialties within just physics. So you have like AMO physics, you have optics, you have condensed matter. Like there's all kinds of different things that are interrelated. And so when you understand the biophysics, all of this stuff, like I can go through like why light is the reason for anything that you name.
So all that stuff, I mean, it's just huge, right?
It's huge.
So, I mean, you're starting to build and build and build on not only who you're interviewing and why you're interviewing them, how it has effects. But my question is, why does that matter to Logan Duvall? Because every time I see you, there's passion behind everything that you do, right? And where that direction goes, you can see it. I mean, it's very transparent. But why is that important to Logan Duvall?
I think being raised by a single mother and watching her struggle just to provide and do the best she could for me was why I was so adamant of having that financial freedom, right? So trying to understand that, trying to apply that, and then as I saw people hurting, and I could prevent that, right? Like, so
because you saw your son hurting at that point.
It's like you sit in the oncology floor and you see all these babies that are sick. You're in there, and then 1 week they just stop showing up because they're gone, right? Like that's not okay.
And then you saw it on the EMS side of things too. You saw you're taking people that are maybe there's some mental illness there, but obviously you're seeing some hard things that you and I were talking about when you were on the bus. It was like you could see it time and time again. Maybe you didn't connect those dots and
Not
why.
back then I didn't.
But
But it's all interrelated.
Yeah.
And so like it's the same thing with entrepreneurship. It's all about solving a problem.
Right.
So that's all I really see as why I do and why I get so angry online is when somebody tries to argue with me and they've not put in the work and they have opinions that are leading to people continuing to be sick. It is infuriating, right?
Right.
It's like, so when I get the comments all the time, I have so many doctors, practitioners,
right.
nurses come to the country boy from Atkins, Arkansas, selling tomatoes on the side of the road for advice that can't get help at the Mayo Clinic.
Yeah.
Like this happens all the time. And so you can go through and read those same comments and you see those stories too.
Absolutely.
I got so much help and all I did was change stuff. And for the most part, it's free, right? That's the other thing. Like I'm not even out here selling things when I give these health advice, right?
Right.
And so, it's just helping people. It's like we've just been lied to, and once you see it, you can't unsee it, and that's kind of the principle. Is like I just want to help people, sowing prosperity.
I like the way you said that, Logan. Because I was kind of tracing back your story, and I thought his passion every time it turns into a business essentially, or some sort of a entrepreneurship, like let's take this to the next step. But really what you're doing is you're solving a problem. You are finding solutions when no one else can. And so you're seeking that out and it's working. Yeah. And so those are the success stories, basically. That is incredible.
I get all kinds of things that, they sound nice and stuff about being intelligent and different things like that. I really think what it is like my quote unquote superpower is what I refer to as this lattice work of mental models. I am really, really, really good, and this is probably because they got like some autism in there or something, like, honestly. But like I see how things are connected, like so blatantly obvious that others don't, right? So when I'm talking about being siloed in an understanding, for example, a good friend of mine is a PhD out of Arizona, and he was calling to ask about his kids and what some things that his wife's a nurse, and some things on if I would recommend doing that or not, right?
Wow.
Okay, so he's a PhD in like environmental sciences and engineering, right? So, but he's big into agriculture, and so we're going through this, and I connected how the question he was asking, and I don't want to get y'all's YouTube channel shut down, so I'm not going to go into specifics. But what he was talking about, and it ended into C3, C4, and CAM photosynthesis, right? Because I was talking to his language, right? But agriculture, trying to understand. So when we're talking about the health of his kids, and I'm able to bring it there to his world, that's what I'm talking about on this lattice work of mental models. They don't seem like it connects, but it's all connected.
But because in the medical world, and you hit on this a minute ago, it's sectioned off. You have doctors who are really good at knees and ankles and whatever, neck, the back, the brain, so it's all sected. So they don't see the interconnectedness. And so what you're doing is like you're interviewing all of them, and then you're connecting all the dots for them. When they call them, you're like, okay, I can understand because that's connected to here and this is connected to there. But it's way bigger than that because they're not being educated that way. They're being educated on, you're a specialist, you go to this area, you comment on this area, and you don't specialize on anything else, right? Is that basically what you're saying?
Yeah, it's a huge problem.
Yeah. So and that starts with the universities. Does that start with the medical? Where does that start at?
It starts with what I refer to, and read my stuff. I use the words centralized and decentralized all the time, right? So podcasts and books and groups and things are a decentralized education, right? And that's not a for them or against them as far as the content that they're saying, but it is not a controlled curriculum. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So this is why, something like YouTube, like you can learn so much. There's terrible information out there.
Sure.
But when you vet it and you have the right people that are teaching it and putting it together, it is a unbelievable education, right?
Yeah.
So when you have a centralized curriculum that, for most part, especially medicine, it's all big pharma funded, right? Like, so
Sure.
everything goes
Yeah.
back to Flexner Report with the Rockefellers and how they destroyed everything other than this petrochemical pharmaceutical model, and it's taught to that, right? That's as conspiratorial as that may sound to some people, it's not. It's right there in history. It's right there in literature.
One of the only countries in the world that can advertise
nuts.
pharmaceutical stuff online. Like you see it every day, all day. And what's scary is they give you these great big things at the end of it that say, hey, warning, this and
You
this
will
and this
die.
and this and this could happen. You could possibly die, but, you should take this because it's going to heal this one part of you, right? So we're the only, there's only like 3 countries in the entire world, 4 countries and something like that. So, but it's big money.
It's big.
So,
Yeah.
and Logan, I think I want to not confuse anyone. What all channels are you on right now? What all methods you're on? You're doing YouTube channels.
Mm-hmm.
You're making posts on social media, so Facebook and Instagram. Any other channels?
So it is a little confusing. So Me and McGee Market is the business, and that is our biggest social media platform. And I use it like I market different, right?
I love
I
it.
do a
You
lot of
market
things different,
passionately.
right? I do, but like I want to market by helping people.
Yeah.
Like if you look at retail, it's I have butter. Come buy my butter.
Right.
Come see us today. We're open 8 to 5.
Right.
Right. Like that makes me want to throw up even just talking about that. Right. So to me, it's what would add value to somebody that's reading my stuff?
Sure.
If you're going to take time out of your doom scrolling to read something that I've done, well, let me help you somehow. Let me connect to what you're doing and give you something that hopefully adds value to your life. And so I use Me and McGee's platform to do that.
And would you contribute that to the growth that you mentioned, 200% year over year? Partially, there's a movement, absolutely, no doubt, but also because you're bringing value to people.
I think so.
You think so?
Yeah,
I think
I think
that's
it's
just people need that.
It's solutions.
And more than value, they start to trust you, and so they want to do business with you. I mean, don't you think you can apply that probably to any type of business? That's incredible. I love that journey.
Yeah. So I utilize Me and McGee that way and write articles. I do a little more, maybe controversial than on my own personal. Like I go for the jugular, right?
Yeah.
Like we
Yeah.
talked about a group right before we started filming that I despise, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm going to go after people more so on that than I typically do on the market page. But YouTube has just been great. I have a Rumble channel just because YouTube does not like everything I talk about. And so, like, one is Mel Gibson, right? Like, I almost lost my entire YouTube channel because I interviewed Mel Gibson about cancer. Like, it was a huge process to go through. So had to set up a Rumble channel because some of these really, spicy conversations, like they're not allowed on YouTube. So I do have a backup for Rumble on those, but YouTube's by far the biggest
Do you
platform.
think it's gotten better or worse?
It's not gotten better.
It's not gotten better.
No, it's not gotten worse, I don't think, but it's not gotten better.
So the content that you can put out is limited to whatever
but
they
I'm always
whatever.
pushing it, right? Like I never tell anybody what they can or can't say, right? Like I just want the truth. And that's the other thing about, I think why the podcast has done so good is because it's not me sitting there lecturing people.
Sure.
Right? It is me trying to find answers for the questions I have. So typically I'm interviewing somebody I'm trying to learn from, and I know that they may have this hyper siloed focus, but I need a deeper understanding in whatever that is.
Right.
And bring it into that lattice work of mental models.
Right.
So the most of the podcasts are you're learning with me. It's not.
I love that.
It's different.
Like
Yeah,
you're
so-
learning it. It's almost like, Logan, you're just the centralized like funnel that you're just absorbing all this
connecting
thing.
everything.
You're
Yeah.
connecting, then you're like putting it together and you're formulating it in your mind as like a book, and then you're able to regurgitate, for lack of better words, just in a really well spoken way that the average person can understand and go back and use it. That's a gift, Logan. That's
thank
great.
you, Jodi. Thank you.
Excited.
I try, but because again, it just goes back. I don't want to see the people suffering, and so like it's nonstop at the market. People are coming up. It's diabetes, it's MS, it's Parkinson's, it's fill in the blank, right? And like, what do I do? How do I get help? Well, I'm not a doctor, But I can tell you this, these fundamentals, these foundations are going to have a massive, massive impact. And if it's not a part of it,
So
you're
give
kinda
it, give
spinning
us
your
the
wheels.
give us the 3 or 4 fundamental things. Okay, not these great big things. I'm talking about just simple 3 or 4 things that you can see interconnected, right? That would make a huge difference in somebody with chronic diseases or diabetes or whatever that case, because it's rampant. I mean, I think I was looking at a stat. Look, I mean, I just got to pull up. 93% of Americans have some form of metabolic derangement, as cited by multiple studies. 68% of Americans right now are obese. 7 out of 10 people walking right now are obese. And so if you were going to just give these people 3 or 4 fundamental things, just real quick, what would it be?
So let's preface this by this is what I get attacked for, right? It's like laying out these super simple deals, and it's not people that have followed me, because like I got a decade behind people following and they trust me, right? These are the people that, oh, wow, this page has a lot of followers and something gets shared, right? Something goes viral, and it's all the people that don't know the backstory and that I have laid out the foundation and support it over and over and over and over, that I get attacked by. So preface that. One, food matters. Okay?
Absolutely.
It does. And our food system is a disaster. But it's not even remotely close to the foundation of what's wrong with us. And this is where I get also very heated on there when we're only talking seed oils and red 40, right? That is not the problem.
Sure.
It is a problem.
It's not the problem.
It's not the problem. So, one, if you look at what we've done, is we are now a technocracy of life. Like, what we do is look around, right? We're inside. We have all our phones. We have our Wi-Fi. We have our smart meters. We have our refrigerator that we can order Amazon from, right?
Right.
Like this is the reality. We're driving around in electric vehicles. We are living an artificial lifestyle. This is the foundation. Now, I can go and break that down. That is the negative side of what we're doing. The positive side is the solution is get in the sun, because that is a big deal. Roger Schalt was just he's a friend. Was just on the Diary of a CEO, right? And I've been sent this interview like 18 different times. People are just so excited that somebody's talking about the same. You said this,
you said
right?
this, Logan.
Oh my! And this is a.
It's like he
quadruple
learned it from
certified.
me.
Yeah, they did. Roger's a good dude, though.
Thanks, Roger.
You start seeing how important the sun is for biology, right? And how the optometrists tell us that all of our eye problems are from the sun. It's that blue screen you have 6 inches from your face all the time.
Right.
Right? It's the LEDs, it's the fluorescence,
Right.
it's the artificial lights.
Right.
The full spectrum sun, which is infrared, UVA, UVB, all the colors in the rainbow, right? The Pink Floyd album cover with the prism, right?
Yeah.
White light comes out and the rainbow, you know.
Right.
All of those matter within the context of biology. Whether you're a plant, a dog, a human, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It affects us significantly. So we are never outside anymore as a society. I know there's outliers. And we're always in artificial environments. That's the problem. As crazy and as oversimplified as that sound, that is the problem. Just look at what happened when Tesla lit us up at the World Fair, right? What has happened to disease since the beginning of 1900s till now?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just gone skyrocketed. Yeah.
Skyrocketing.
Yeah.
But another thing that I can prove this whole point is we have at the University of Arkansas Dr. Peter Unger. Okay, he studies Egyptians. Right, digs up skeletons, studies how they are made up, the compositions, the health conditions that they had. Okay, so when you have Nubians, when they're outside versus the royalty that are inside, they have the same Neolithic diseases. The modern health crises that we have are in the royalty, and they're not in the workers. Now think about that.
Yeah.
They're not
Because
outside.
they're not working.
Yeah.
They're not in the sun. They're not eating not the processed type.
Yeah, they call it the diseases of kings. I mean, the gouts and stuff like that. I mean, so gout was a huge. Benjamin Franklin had it. One of the geniuses of American history suffered lots of diseases, gout being one of them, and it was because he sat around and drank wine most of the day. Yeah, so
it's not even complicated. It's just it takes going to that lattice work of mental models and just connecting a few little things. It's really pretty obvious.
Logan, I just have a fun fact to tell you. I think you'll appreciate. So I just remembered, right before you got here, I got a notification that said your package is on its way, and I have 6 5-gallon buckets coming to my house of wheat berries, red, white, and Ezekiel.
There you go.
My mom has done her research, and we are now going to be bread making. So we're going to grind it, mill it, and then just go ahead and bake it straight from there. Anyways, I just think that that's just one fun fact that we're venturing towards this healthy society. But anyways, I don't know what I'm going to do with 6 5-gallon buckets, but I'll give you some.
Thank you.
Maybe I'll start selling them at the market.
Need some, right? Yeah.
I do want to transition to Me and McGee though here soon. When
well, I just one other thing this is Me and McGee. Okay, so this is a story that happened last year. You got turned into the health department. Is that right?
Yes.
You got turned into the health department.
I am a criminal.
Over milk. You had raw milk there, and you were you had it marketed as dog, right? Or for pet consumption.
Because that's what was allowed.
That's what's allowed by law, right?
At the time.
So somebody comes in, reports it. They come to your place, open up the raw milk, and you got to dump it. Is that right? You have to get rid of.
That's what they said.
That's what that's what they said. You had to get rid of it, right? You couldn't put it on the shelf anymore. From that point on, that started a whole revolution of raw milk, because we had Senator Davis on the podcast a couple months ago. She referenced you in that there was a bill that was passed about raw milk, that it was now able to be consumed by people legally. With warning labels, I think, with stuff like that, which I get. That's fair.
I think it came out April this year.
So that effect that had on you, okay? That's that story, because you're an entrepreneur, right? This is your business owner. This is government getting into business, right? Now you got into government and had a positive effect. So what story? What did you learn from all of that in that journey?
Again, it's all interconnected. And so when you realize the propaganda that we've been fed, right? People need to go get Edward Bernays' book and read it. It's propaganda, right? Goebbels used to this, right? This is
absolutely.
The textbook. Okay.
Look at the Olympics in '36. I mean, absolutely.
This is the foundation. So when you see that we have been absolutely lied to, misled, gaslit, been fed half truths, right, to be controlled. So the regulations around raw milk in the country are not to protect people. Like, they're just not. They are to centralize food, right? We're going to go back to that word. Centralized versus decentralized. When you have 50 dairies in the state of Arkansas that are supplying the people, right? That's decentralized. When you have 2, Highland and Coleman, that are supplying the country, that's centralized.
Sure.
See?
And Highland owns Coleman now, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I think so.
It's all the same. It's all big food, big pharma. It's the same thing. Big medicine, big hospitals. It's all the same thing. So when you know that there's a difference between pasteurization and raw, and you start seeing how that affects your health, like it massively, right? And you start seeing that the one that doesn't make you sick is actually the one that's criminalized and made hard to get, or they make laws. So what happened in Arkansas at that time, you could buy directly from a dairy, but the consumer had to drive to the dairy, and that dairy could only produce 500 gallons a month.
Oh,
That's it.
wow.
That's all they could produce.
That's not
right?
enough to live on.
No, it's not enough to live on.
Goodness.
But that was the cap, right? That was
Yeah.
the cap to make sure that they don't grow too much.
Too much.
Right? They can't feed too many people.
Yeah.
We need them going to the big box store. So, as I could not have cared less about raw milk at that point, right? Like, I was not an advocate for it. I didn't care. I just wanted people to have the option to get it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to force people to get it. I wasn't even attacking pasteurized milk at that time. Like, I was just trying to say, hey, this is the loophole in the law. If you label it for pet consumption only, whatever you do with it at your own house is your own business.
Sure.
Right.
Right? So,
It's that control thing you were talking about. You
man,
just
it sets me off all over again. Because I've done so much for so long on social media and people trust me, I just went straight to it. I blew it up. I said, this is what happened. This is my thoughts on it. And it just went viral. So I started having legislators reach out left and right. The support was incredible. The attacks were insane, right? And so people like didn't even know me. It's like, oh, you're spreading cancer bombs. I'm like, that's probably not the best one to come at me with.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So utilizing the marketing of social media for good and positive change I think that's just super, super important. And it's an opportunity to highlight what I refer to as like the cost of compliance. So what happens with legislation is not that we need more, we need less. When you have legislation that makes it really hard for a small business to feed their own community because they are potentially competition for the big guys, that's a problem. Right? That's the cost of compliance. So an example I like to give is like at a local processor, one of the laws, and this isn't everywhere, it's just an example that they do, is you have to have a touchless sink in this super special thermometer, right? This thermometer costs $5,000. The sink's like a couple of grand, around $2,000-$3,000. Okay, well, for the bigger processor, that's nothing, right? That's not even a rounding error,
Right.
For the small guys, that's huge.
Yes.
Like that's a loan. That's trying to figure out how you're going to do it. Right. So it's very easy to legislate these cost of compliance aspects that make it impossible to succeed. Whereas you consolidate more, you centralize more of the food. And like that can be done on everything. Bakeries, processing, vegetables, like it doesn't matter. Like these legislations that increase cost of compliance, they hurt the small person. Every time.
Okay, so let me go one step. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Let me go. We interviewed the Ralstons.
Robin?
Yes.
Yes. And she said similar things that you just said. On the farming side of things, people are getting out, right?
It's
so
terrifying.
So if people are getting out of farming because of the expense of it, and if you think about going down and having to take out loans for the John Deere, for the attachments to that, and then everything else that's consumed with that.
I think the general work ethic is lacking.
Well,
also.
Well, there is definitely a human component of this, right? It's a lot easier to go work at a tech company than it is go out in the farm and work for 10 hours a day. I mean, there's definitely some truth to that. So what you're saying is like, hey, they're trying to consolidate, but we're giving it up willingly.
Yeah.
So if the farms are getting small and the big business is just saying, hey, we're just going to take what's given to us. What's the answer, Logan? If what you're saying is true, what's the answer if farmers are getting out? Yeah. How do you incentivize that to get back in?
So that's a booger to unpack, okay? Because you have so many different aspects of agriculture. So what Robin's really talking about for the most part is our commodity farming. Our commodity farming is not working. They're losing money, all right? So land prices are extremely expensive. Yeah. Our input costs, whether that's fertilizer, seeds, like whatever, because there's a seed monopoly. Like people should know that. Like you have to buy seeds every year that are patented and licensed by these seed companies. You can't save them. You can't grow it, harvest, save seeds, and plant again next year. You have to buy it again, right? So you have all these things that are extremely expensive, and then it's dictated on the price that the commodity market is going to get, right? So like beef right now is astronomically high. It's like the highest it's ever been.
Right.
Beef prices. A lot of people are selling out to make money.
Yeah.
But that means our beef supply is
That's
going
right.
down.
That's
it's
right.
the lowest it's ever been.
But the highest prices that it's ever been.
But so we're consolidating again, and I believe it's artificial. The big guys are propping up prices to get the small guys out so they can consolidate more.
Makes sense.
That's a big problem. So we just have to put into context what aspect of agriculture we're talking about. But
it's all interconnected, right?
Right. I'm not a huge fan of the commodity, right? Because what that means, that's soy, that's wheat, that's corn, that's cotton, right? That's what they're doing. So these are the big monoculture fields that we see. Rice is another, that's like the largest one in Arkansas. So what the Ralstons have done is they are attempting to decentralize that. So they don't sell into the commodity
They're
market.
1%. 1% of what is what they do goes to the rest of the nation. the rest of the nation doesn't do what they do.
No, they don't. And I'm a huge fan. I love Tim
Yeah.
and Robin. They're good friends, and what they're doing is, in my opinion, the solution. It's regenerative agriculture. So that land they have is getting better every single year.
Yes.
Right. They're not poisoning it, and they're not raping and pillaging it.
Right.
So when you look at the Delta, Eastern Arkansas, what's happening is it's that type of agriculture is much more akin to mining. Right. So you put in what you need for a plant to produce, but then you pull it all out.
Yep.
You're putting nothing back.
Right.
Other than these synthetic inputs, right? So you're
Right.
pulling it out. You're pulling it. That's mining,
Sure.
right? So and then that goes into this commodity market. Depending on if there's an elevator there, you have the appropriate buyers, and this is like, and then this most of it like will go to animal feed. It's not even feeding people, right? And this is animal feed in the way of Tyson. Of Cargill,
Yeah.
of all of the big meat producers, which is really just like 4 that control the entire meat supply. That should terrify everybody. Again, centralized. So everything since 70s, when Earl Butz, who was the Secretary of Ag, was like, get big or get out. All that crap is what's killed the Delta. It's killed our agrarian communities. And so the solution, Caleb, get back to your point, is go to the neighbor that's at the farmer's market that grows food in our local areas, wherever you are. Get your beef from your neighbor. Get your chicken from your neighbor, right? Like not from the Tyson. And that, I know that's going to offend people. My grandpa grows for Tyson. Like I understand that world, and they're good people that grow for Tyson. That's not a bash at them. But when you are growing an animal in a factory versus the way God intended, out on grass, being an animal, like that's a problem in my book.
Yeah.
And so when what we're doing is to prop up an artificial animal livestock agriculture model that is centralized, and that's what we're using the food for, instead of turn that land into grasslands like what the Great Plains were, the prairies we had, grow our cattle herds, buy local, support local, get our schools buying the beef from our local people, right? Our chicken coming from local people. Like we're getting stuff from Argentina and Brazil here,
Yes.
Right.
when we should just be buying it from our
Water
neighbor.
buffalo.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's crazy,
Right.
right? Like it's absolutely
Yes.
crazy. And so like I can go into the whole health side of why local's better, but like for the point, it's like go to the little farmers markets. Like this
Okay.
is not about Me and McGee. No, Me and McGee Market in Central Arkansas should not supply Arkansas. I don't want to. I want to teach these principles to where there is a market in every single community. Atkins, Russellville, Pottsville, Dover. They should all have their own little market of people, of artisans and farmers that they're supporting.
And Logan, it's your market at Me and McGee, though. Just like the other ones you're speaking to, it's not just what you're raising. It's when you, I mean, it's a community of farmers coming together, and you sell other farmers, other artisans' products. Correct?
Yeah,
Like
we're like a grocery store at this point. Like we have farmers that grow. We buy the entire crop. Like it's crazy what comes through our little place, right? Like the volume. But that's because agriculture's hard.
Sure.
Right. The small
So hard.
scale is
Right.
hard. And so like they have the choice to, and I'm speaking more for like our farmers, to do what they do, which is very difficult. Right. It's a lot of work. Now they can. Do I want to go spend my Saturday sitting up at a farmer's market and talking to people and having the same conversation 87
I
times?
know. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or do I want to take my harvest to a retail operation and the retail operation do what retail operations do, and that's
Right.
sell and market?
Market. Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
So I think that model is what we need. Right, it's kind of like what Sam Walton was attempting to do, right, with the 5 and dime.
Yep.
These small mom and pop markets, in my opinion, are the solution, because they take on the role of customer service, of marketing, of inventory,
Right.
of retail, and that is what we need, because the farmers need to do what they do.
Yes.
Right, you can do anything, but you can't do everything.
Yes.
Right,
That's right.
Huh?
That's right.
And so when you divide out this food chain, this food system, this resiliency, if one person is doing all that chain, the chain can very easily go away. One little break, you can adjust.
When you say burnout, completely.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, and I think that, gosh, that's the entrepreneurship. That's what a lot of them happen, right? So within 3 to 5 years, burnout is real. So, but I feel like what you've done is you become passionate. You find what your passion is. You go after it, and then you hire out the rest. Basically, manage whatever, build up, scale.
But scaling is not. That's not in your. you don't want to scale, right?
See, and that is the disconnect from all those books that we talked about.
But
right?
hold on, I slightly disagree. I think you are scaling in a different way.
I stack.
You mentioned that you wanted to provide
you
value.
compound.
Yes.
So scaling. So the difference between compounding and scaling in your business. Tell what's your vision there?
So scaling, let's take I don't know, White Castle, right? This is a restaurant chain.
Yeah.
That is, you scale. You go everywhere. You go you
Open
saturate
up
a
new-
market and you go to another state. You saturate a market, you go to another country, right? You just keep go scale, doing the same exact thing, just growing it. That would be like if I was opening up a Me and McGee in every city in Arkansas that had a population above 50,000, right? Like that's scaling.
That's right.
When what I'm trying to do is I stack education platforms with media platforms with actual like the food service, the product manufacturing, right? Like we bake, have a bakery, but artisans where we do canning. We do all of these little things where we stack and we keep it together. But my goal is to take all these things and be able to share it so other people can do it. So scaling it just in that context is what I call that stacking versus trying to take over with one linear aspect.
Which is great. I mean, it's another way of entrepreneurship without, because in a way, that's what we've been fed, right? You scale. It's a word that you see all the time. You scale. You could open up another Me and McGee in 10 different places around the state. You have enough of a reach that you could do that in different areas. But that means you got to go and run 10 different places as well, right? And you got to find 10 different managers, and, there's a whole nother employee side of it as well. But what you're doing is you're just the compound effect or stacking, same thing, on top of each other to make the brand well done. But also, it's for one reason you got 132 followers or subscribers on YouTube. And so it's all kind of interconnected, right?
It's all very interconnected. Yeah, and you you have to have the right people. Like my mother is the heartbeat of that market, right? Like none of it would work without her.
Oh,
So
we were down there, and she was helping us out big time, and because he was too good for us, he was in the back with his shirt off, playing with the pig, so we had to go.
He was in the sun.
He's in the sun. So just a couple of other things before we get out of here. This is principal entrepreneurship, right? Jodi and I want to talk about the principles that set up each and every business, the founder, the co-founder, the person that's running it. What are the principles that you stand on? Are like, hey, no matter what happens, these aren't going to change.
First and foremost, you just got to take care of people, like that. And as cliche as that may sound, you sincerely take care of people. But the flip side of that, where I completely disagree with the status quo, is the customer's always right. I fire customers left and right.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, we are building a culture. And it's like you look at the business cards, it's the experience. So if you can't reciprocate, like we're going to try. If there's a problem, we're going to take care of it, right? The belligerent, we don't do that. Like I don't do that. And so it is. It's a problem that people say that, and it infuriates me. The customer's always right.
Okay,
no,
so people, but they're not always right. But people
take care of people. Right?
Take care of people.
But take care of them. But
okay,
it's reciprocity, right? But a lot of times people don't understand reciprocity. It's like I don't know. There's some sort of a disconnect that's happened over time, and so when you just go talk to somebody that works in food service or retail. And ask, how do you like your job? Oh, it'd be great if it wasn't for the people.
Yeah.
Right? It's because there is this complete lack of respect and understanding of where you are. Like you see how somebody treats a Walmart cashier versus you see how they do when they go through ours. That's night and day, I promise. But we're also making sure that we are doing what we're supposed to, right? We are held to extremely high standard, but we're also going to require that. And so it's just doing the best that you can to make sure that they are taken care of. And that's why we have, it's a cult following in a lot of regards. But it's a culture, right? Yeah. It is a culture of we have a mission. So a lot of people may see, the Me and McGee Market Facebook page and be like, why in the world is he talking about sunlight and glycemic index with sourdough bread and freezing, right? Because that was one of my last posts.
Yes.
Because I'm trying to help people.
Right.
Because when they trust me and they feel better and they get their A1C down, now oh, well, they helped me. We can do that. And then you come and you experience and you see a culture. Like you saw people smiling, right?
Yeah.
When you were there.
Mm-hmm.
Last time I was in Walmart, I don't know if I saw anybody smiling, right?
Yeah.
So that experience, to me, solve a problem, take care of them, hold yourself to a standard, and hold them to a standard.
And I think what you're speaking to is culture, like creating a culture that you want to be a part of, that you want, and therefore it's attractive and will draw other people in.
But I also
Yeah.
hear a lot of empathy
Sure.
in that,
Yeah.
right? So you're trying to understand. So you get phone calls every single day about the different things, different problems that they're going through. When we were at your market, we saw different people coming up to you, and I could tell that it was hard for you because this happens all the time. It's like you're getting phone calls, you're getting questions asked you all day about what's wrong with them, right? And that's got to weigh on you, but you're having empathy to sit down and listen to them and understand where they're coming from. And I think that's what separates you from a lot of other people. Is like, I ain't got time for that. That's what a lot of people would say. I don't have time for that. But you're going to take the time because whatever they're going through is really hard. Mm-hmm. And even though you may only be somebody just that's a YouTube celebrity, you're just a phone call away, you're a message away, and you're going to give them whatever that you can give them in return for the hundreds of books that you've read and the experience that you've been through with your son, to try to let them understand that they're not alone in that. Is that, I mean, that's what I'm hearing. And that's how I know you too. Like, I mean, I know you get pissed off. I know you get mad, but I also know through that anger, there's a lot of empathy there.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of, I understand what you're going through, because I'm going to sit and listen to you tell me that.
I have a lot of empathy and desire to help people that want to help themselves. I have zero patience whatsoever for those that don't.
Sure.
Like if you're not willing to put in the work, you're not willing to listen. Like so, like if somebody comes to me and they say, this is going on, I'm like, well, this is what's really important. Get in the sun, right? Mm-hmm. And then I can't because our dermatologist said I will get melanoma. I'm like, okay, I can't help you.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
out.
that's right.
Right. And so like I don't have time for them. Right. But when and that may sound harsh, but like we all have this emotional, mental, spiritual battery, and it's either getting charged or it's getting drained, right? In everything we do, it's like a bank account. And so like if it's a relationship between a husband and a wife, whether that's friends, right? Like if you're constantly being drained, you can't perform. The battery goes dead. And so like you got to be cognizant of that. And so like if my battery goes dead because people don't want to listen, I can't help the other people. So yeah, it's definitely two-sided, but no, I agree.
So 2 more questions before you get out of here, and Jodi may have one too that she may want to add. But does Logan Duvall believe that he can solve cancer?
I will cure cancer.
You believe you can cure cancer? Okay. I mean, it's fascinating to hear you say that because, again, you don't have a PhD. You're not you're not any of these things, and yet you believe in your heart of hearts you're going to find this.
Yeah, no, I have, and that's just read what I write. Like we've done it. It's just not being applied. So I have the Sowing Prosperity Together platform, and so that's me and Dr. Petra Davlar. We're partners in this. We host meetings every Tuesday night. Right, it's behind a paywall. Right, but you get on. We give a little presentation, then we do a Q&A. This is a doctor that is my partner in this business that we talk nonstop every day about the research. So like I do more research probably in a week than most quote unquote doctors do in years. Like this is my world. I just happen to be able to connect it to some of the other things.
What is that called, Logan?
Sowing prosperity. So it says Galatians 6:7, right? Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. Whatever man sows, this he shall also reap. So like my intent is to help people. And so this is the way I can do it. But what, we're running into cancers on skyrocketing, right? And I lay out why I think that is, what the solution is. But I guarantee you prevention is way better than curing it.
Sure.
Right. And so that's a big part of what I put out too, is like, how do we prevent these issues?
Right. So the last thing I would ask you is that I know you read a lot of books, okay? And we're talking to entrepreneurs, right? We're talking to business people, founders, and people that are just thinking about this as well. So I'm going to ask you for some books, but I want you to give me the books that not the cure cancer books, even though you can mention those as well because those are important. But most people aren't going to read the cancer research stuff. Give me books that have meant a lot to Logan over the years that has changed your perspective, how you treat people, how you talk to people, how you founded or how you started to run Me and McGee. Give me some books that really have influenced you.
A lot, but there's really only 3. So the first one, not that I think it's the greatest book of all time, but it's the one that impacted me most. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. When I was like, 15. All right, like that was huge. All right, for perspective. Like, what? And then the greatest business book of all time, by far, hands down, not even a debate, is How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Okay.
Dale Carnegie.
So
Okay.
good.
Not. There's really not another one. It really helps you understand that everything about business is about relationships, right? So it goes back to what I was saying on the battery.
Yeah. I have to admit, that one surprises me, Logan, a little bit because I agree with but I read your writings and I'm like, the dude's mad about something.
A product for everybody is a product for nobody. Okay? So I'm not trying to help everybody. That's as counter as that may sound. I'm trying to help the people that want help.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you don't want help and you want to argue with me, I don't have time for you, and I'm going to eviscerate you if you think you know what you're talking about.
Do you seek that out, though?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I'm not.
I was wondering if how you're gonna answer that one.
No, it fuels me because when you have somebody, and you know, there's a lot of pediatricians around here that have blocked me, right? Like here in Pope County, but
because you eviscerated one online the other day, when they get
eviscerated them publicly, and they're still wrong. And I made sure everybody knew that they were wrong. And so when I also put out there are almost 800 pediatricians in the state of Arkansas. It is an open invitation to any single one to come on the podcast and openly debate me. I am a country boy from Arkansas. As you have noted, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a PhD. So come on. You have nothing to lose to talk down to a country boy about these things where you're right. But if you can justify a 76 vaccine schedule for a child and an mRNA injection for a child, do it.
Mm-hmm.
Open debate. Open. Anybody can come on and do this if you're a PhD. Or PRN, pediatrics, anything that you're a specialist, come tell me that I'm wrong and why this is okay. They won't do it. They still have the open invitation. So, like, if y'all are watching this, because when you understand what's happening, I hit it on a little bit with this quantum biology, like you can't. And so what I was doing with that one pediatrician, I was like, before you go out there and you start attacking retinol as being a solution, let's really understand what liberated vitamin A is, right? That was the whole thing. And I broke it down for them. I broke it down. This is what happens with blue light and your photoreceptors when you are exposed. Like, that's the problem, not what you're saying. And I wasn't even being ugly. Like, I laid it out. Then I got ugly when they started trying to argue with me when it was, well, that may be right. I don't know. And then they told me about, a little gaslighting tangent. So I lay it all out there. I'm very public.
So Teddy Roosevelt has a quote that says, and I'm going to butcher it, but it basically says the most important single fundamental thing for success is getting along with people. And that's Teddy's. And I would say that that's echoed in Dale Carnegie to a degree. You're saying, I'm going to get along with people, but I'm going to get along with people not just because I want to, but because I need to reset people's minds on what they believe to be wrong or right, and then try to challenge that thought process, right? So it's more of I want to get along with you, but I care about you enough to say, I'm going to give you another perspective out there.
So it's like we have a kid, right? And we're like, don't touch that stove. And like, I want to touch that stove. No, don't touch the stove. And so our kid does what? Walks up and touches the stove, and they get burnt. So at what point was the failure? Was it the failure that a child touched a stove? Was it the point that the child didn't listen to the parent? Was it that we didn't do something more extreme other than say, don't touch the stove, right? So, like, what's the breakdown? So, like, that's kind of the whole thing that I do. I'm not out there trying to eviscerate people out of the gate. I don't. I lay it out very plainly. I try to do it in layman's terms, but also I go very layman, and then I tie it into the science to where if it is a doctor, they say, wow, okay, that is connected, right? So like I do it both ways. The ones that I eviscerate are the ones that come out and they just start attacking, like, you're crazy. I can't believe you laid out a map with numbers and data that say melanoma cases per 100,000 are higher in Washington than Florida. The sun causes cancer, right? Like I'm going to eviscerate that because that is the case, right? Like if the sun caused cancer, it would be higher in Texas and Florida, Arizona than it would be in Washington and Vermont.
Absolutely.
But that's not what the data shows, right?
Absolutely.
So when I'm not as confrontational, but sometimes I do put things out there because I write typically from a emotion, right?
Sure. Yeah. You have the idea and you execute it probably.
Yeah.
In the
So to go back to the books, because I got you off on this, but you got How to Win Friends and Influence People. And what's the third book?
Probably Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just
Think
an
and Grow
old
Rich.
classic.
It's literally right there behind
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
It sure is.
Yeah.
But the self-actualization, like that's kind of the big one, right? And it's this burning desire, right? That's what Hill talks about in there. And it's like, you have to have that. You just have to.
Yeah. What does he say? If you can get through just about anything as long as you have determination.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. Persistence. If you have persistence, then you can basically get through anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I really, really, really love about Hill is with every adversity comes the seed of an equal or greater opportunity, right? Like, and that's the one thing. It's like, so this is a problem. This sucks.
right.
Like, what's the opportunity?
Right.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. Maxwell talks a lot
Yeah,
about that
yeah.
too. Yeah. That's a good book. And then he's got the law of economy, which is you can only give so much before you have to take. Right? And that makes a lot of sense too.
I think that's the exact same thing of what you're referring to about your battery drain.
Exactly.
It just in a layman's terms. Yeah.
Yeah.
Law of economy, law of battery.
Yeah. He's got some great stories in there too. Like great stories about like the guy that goes with his uncle out to Colorado and digs for gold and
Yeah.
gets 3 feet,
3 feet from gold.
3 feet from gold. And he's like, hey, that's how much is that us? Like you're in the middle of it. You're struggling with it. And you could just be 3 feet from hitting gold, but you back out, you leave, you retreat, and then the next guy up just has to dig 3 feet of gold, and then all of a sudden he hits his millions, right? So, yeah, it's a really great book. Those are all great books. Yeah, read them all.
Of course, there's a lot of other great ones, but those three have definitely
Top 3
impacted me.
Well, Jodi, do you have any other?
I don't have
go ahead.
questions. I
Okay.
just wanted to thank you, and I will any links that you can send me, Logan. I would like to attach those at the bottom so people know where to find you.
Yeah.
And shop.
And Logan, you may not have
And-
the PhD, and you may not have that doctorate next to him. You're one of the smartest guys I know.
Oh, absolutely.
And I really appreciate you and all that you do. And you've educated me over the years, and I think we've had some good conversations about that. And I think for me and Jodi, it's that we now have a more of an open mind about what we perceive to be the truth. I think we are now saying, I don't know if that is or not. And I think that's where we need to be. Is like it's not that we believe that everything is wrong, but we have this idea that not everything that we've been fed may be right. And so we question that, and that's why Jodi said, hey, we've got 6
Yes.
veins of wheat coming, and we got a
I'll be
bunch of
busy.
land that we want to homestead on, and I think there's a movement in that area as well, and I think I think your cult following necessarily is a wake up call for a lot of us. You see that with RFK right now. I mean, it's been in the news a lot lately, and I think there's a big change in just perspective.
I do have a question, and then we'll finish it up. But for people that don't want to start a market, anybody that just wants to do it on their own land, let's say they have a couple acres, what is the first step towards getting outside, sunshine? But past that, I'm talking about animals or gardening or growing or what's the first step towards maybe taking control of their health and future?
It all goes back to meat. for me, right? Like, so that garden is only going to be a few weeks, right? Like out of an entire year. Meat is always in season,
Yeah.
and it can always be local. And so it's either source your beef, right? Like that's easy. Buy a whole beef will feed a whole family for a year.
It did us.
Yeah.
When you prioritize that and then fill in with seasonal and natural things, whether it's tomatoes, it's squash, it's okra, whatever is coming in, like that's how you do it. But prioritize getting that meat right first.
I love that. Yep.
That makes sense. Logan, thank you
Yeah.
for your time. Thanks, man. If we get blocked from YouTube, we know who to blame. No, no, I'm kidding.
I kept it pretty mild. I kept it pretty mild.
No, you did great.
You
I
looked at
appreciate
me
it.
before you, and Caleb, I saw you cut the eyes before you said a couple words. So it's fine.
Yeah. I was like, yeah.
You've been a good friend,
you.
and we're proud of where you're at and where you're going, and look forward to the next
And a good
thing.
businessman.
Yeah.
Likewise, brother.
Good
Yeah.
businessman.
All right,
So
man.
good.
We appreciate you. Thank you.